What's up, everyone? I'm Jellison, and I'm here with Purdue women's basketball player Léony Boudreau. Léony, how you doing?
I am doing great. You know what? I feel lucky that my family is all healthy and we're all good. So I'm in a little wave of gratitude right now, and and I prepared like all emotionally to be vulnerable with you. Like I love podcasts, so like when you said I want you to be on a podcast, I was so excited. So I'm really excited right now.
Yeah, I was super excited to ask you. I was wanting to ask you like any of the girls for a while because that's my kind of area of expertise for hammer and rails is women's basketball. But a lot of you guys said no or didn't respond, and then I asked you, and you could come on. So
I was so excited. I was like, yeah, of course, I want to be in it.
Okay, so the cat's kind of out of the bag a little bit, but I understand that you do have a little announcement to make to Boiler Nation.
Yeah, so it's kind of out there already. You're talking about the fact that I'm probably not going to play next year. Well, actually, I'm not going to play next year. And so that's a great question to start being vulnerable with you. That's great. No, so I had a couple of concussions in my past as a basketball player, and last year the doctor kind of, after my last one, the doctor kind of brought me into the office and told me that I wouldn't be safe to play contact sport anymore since there's so much risk to be to have another like hit to the head. And so it was really tough, to be honest with you. At first I didn't want to believe it, but if they took that decision and it's because for safety, then I'm glad they took it, because I would have never took that decision for myself. It was basketball was a part of me for so long. And so I could say it was really tough at first. I can say that right now, but I think I grew a lot through it. And I can't explain that, but I had to go through that phase of feeling bad because I was feeling bad. You know, I was still in that team with so many amazing people in a great university. I was doing what I love. I had just a part of me that was kind of taking out from me. And so I felt like you shouldn't be feeling bad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like a different phases I had to go through, but then I kind of had to accept that, yes, you have to go through this phase and then feel comfortable moving forward. And I'm really lucky that I had like such a wonderful support system around me. I mean, my family is just amazing. My parents are my role model. My little brother is just the kindest he's like a young adult now. So that's kind of crazy to say, but, and then my friends, my teammates were just so supportive. My coaches really kept me involved with the team, which was huge, because all like the personality tests that I do, it's always the first one is like the first characteristic for me is responsibility. So I need to be involved in things and I need to have things in my charge. And so it was cool to stay around with the team. After every game, I gave like the Leo's award to one of my teammates that I think played the game like it was their last. And so that was really cool, and just stay around with the team and be there at practices and see basketball in another angle. And so yeah, I was really fortunate to never be bored and always have other projects as well. And now I'm training for triathlon. So I kind of directed my physical exercise in a different way. It was like my after career plan. So I was like, let's just start that earlier. So yeah.
So talk a little bit about like what, not what led to that moment, but like that moment of coming to the realization that you're not going to be able to play basketball again. And first of all, when was that, if you're comfortable sharing that? And then how did you go about like those next few days of handling that?
Yeah, so it was actually December 31st, 2019. I'll remember that day forever. That like the doctor told me that I couldn't play anymore. And I'm really a sensitive person and I show my emotions. And so I like burst out crying. It was a really tough night, honestly. But as soon as I came out the office. I mean, the doctor was amazing also to take that decision. It takes a lot of courage on her part as well, but she did what she knew was best. So yeah, and then as soon as I came out, I had my parents. I was really lucky to have my parents there, and so I could kind of share that moment with my parents and with my teammates, and my coaches were there as well. So that was a tough night, but they tried to distract me a little bit because it was like December 31st. So yeah, so we did like card games and stuff, and then a couple of days after, it was tough, but I was with my family, so I was trying to take every second I had with them. And so I have that characteristic of being really proactive with stuff. I don't know if you realize that, but and so I started to try to take on a lot of things, and I realized at some point that when you go to an extreme, it's probably not the best thing to do. And so I went back and really kind of reflect on what I was doing and really reconnected with what I love to do and really connected with my purpose. And that's really to inspire people to achieve their full potential. And so when I connected back through that, I realized other things I could do to help the team and help the people around me to be better leaders and inspire them to reach their full potential. And so that moment really, really helped me, and just having the people around me really helped. And so that kind of led me to where I am today, and I'm a lot in a more happy state for sure.
Yeah. So I saw I think it was a news story from the local news station that you'd be a student coach next year, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
You're kind of thrown into that role a little bit this past year. Talk about like how you've approached that new role on the team.
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually, since I was really young, my coach always told me that I was like the extension of my coach on the court. And so that's kind of cool. I really love to coach and kind of help people and kind of and help others be the best they could be. So that's kind of really exciting role at the same time. I know that when I'm going to see them play, I'm going to be like, have that little feeling. But my focus next year is really going to be my teammates and making sure they play at their best every game and do my best to help them achieve that. And what I realized I could do also is one of my strengths is to communicate kind of what I see from the bench to the team, like during timeouts before coach comes in. And stuff, and even individually when I see something about somebody, I'll tell them, and so I can kind of I try to transfer my IQ to my teammates so that they can apply that on the court. And so yeah, my focus is going to be the team and making sure they play at their best and also help them be better leaders on and off the court. And so I think that's a really exciting role for me, and I can't wait to be with them and start the season. I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you're super excited about, given the circumstances, you just have a positive outlook on life in general, not just basketball. I think that's very valuable that you'll be able to see, say, like Carissa, for example, you've practiced with her, you've played with her, you know exactly what she's doing, and then you see what the defense is doing or whatever the case may be, and you can give her more insight that she'll take in. But I wanted to get back to the moment that you came to the realization that you had to retire. Could you have made that decision yourself? Do you think
Nope.
You couldn't have? No.
No. That's a decision that somebody else had to take for me, because I'm also really competitive, and just like I said, basketball was just part of me, and it will always stay part of me. It brought me to where I am today. So I'm super grateful for that, and it's just going to stay around, and I'm just seeing it a different way. But no, somebody else had to take that decision for me, because I would have never taken that myself.
So would you say that you were kind of like, it seemed like you weren't scared about the concussions, like you weren't necessarily concerned about them? After you made the decision to stop playing, did you kind of realize how much it could affect you potentially?
I tried not. I I tried not to go into that space, to be honest. I was just, before I got the news, I was just trying to get like rehab and get back to the court. And so I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking about what I'm going to play next. So, yeah.
So you've kind of touched on it a little bit, all the different things you do. I don't know how the heck you do it. You do so many different great things, both on the basketball court and in our community and at school. But you're also an engineering major at probably the best engineering school in the country. How did you balance that, being an engineer and playing D1 basketball?
Well, look, that's really simple for me. It's just I'm doing what I love. Like, everything I do is because I love it. And the other big part is that I have such a wonderful support system that helps me do and keeps me on the right track. And so those two pieces together plays a huge role in keeping me motivated. And I feel really great. Like, every time I wake up, I feel grateful for all the opportunities I have. So every opportunity for me is a learning opportunity. And so yeah, I just try to do as much as I can, and when I see that I can help somebody, then I just do it. It's kind of simple for me, but yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what led me to all these things. But it's a really cool experience. I'm just enjoying the journey right now.
What kind of impact does the culture of Purdue and Purdue basketball kind of have on you? And because you were an academic All-American twice, I believe. I don't know if you made it the third time, but how did the culture kind of impact your mindset in terms of school?
That's great. Well, I chose Purdue because it fit my mindset, so I can tell you that right now. But I think being a Boilermaker really means like grit and connectivity, and so that we really help each other go through adversity and impact the world in different ways. And so we're really kind of like a big group of people that help each other. And so you're doing that right now, right? You're helping me serve my message and stuff like that. So I think it's really present in the Boilermaker community. And I chose Purdue because, yes, I wanted like athletic excellence, but also academic excellence, and I really wanted to be challenged personally in everything I would do. And so when I came to visit Purdue, I was like, yep, every single meeting I had, that was confirming the fact that I would be challenged every time I do something, or every person I had a conversation with. And throughout the way, I just had the chance to meet so many great mentors. And so it's just been a blessing.
Mm-hmm. So you're from Canada. I forget which part of Canada are you from?
I'm from Montreal, Canada, so it's in the province of Quebec.
So when you were getting recruited out of high school, what were some of the other schools that you were looking at? Because I know it's hard to find women's basketball rankings and scholarship offers and stuff like that. So like, what were some of the top schools and what made Purdue the top schools that you were considering?
Okay. I think you cut a little bit, but I think I got your question. So for us in Montreal, it's a lot tougher to go do tournaments. Like we have a AU team, but we have to go through like, we were in grocery store trying to do fundraising to try to get us to a tournament. So we were doing really one or two really big tournaments per summer. And the Washington, D.C. was a really big one we were doing, the USGN there. So that was the opportunity for us to showcase our talent and stuff. And so that's when Purdue came to see our team. And the way it goes is that they sent us letters, and then we started like building relationship with the coaches and stuff. And so I had a couple of opportunities that came out from that tournament. I was looking at a couple of Ivy Leagues. Like I said, academic was really big for me. So Delaware was a big one as well. And so yeah, I went to visit Albany as well. And I was looking for a school that had the biomedical engineering program. And so funny story for you, actually, I think I was 15 and I made a list like of all the schools. I made a list of 10 schools that I would say, like, if I get an offer from that school, I'm going. And so Purdue was one of them. And honestly, I had no idea really of what Purdue was. I just knew it was a great university, especially in the engineering side and in the Big Ten. And so after a couple of years, I started to kind of start learning more. And so when I came on my visit, it's really the people that kind of brought all the pieces together. And I committed on my visit, actually, right after my photo shoot. I was like, wouldn't I look good in that uniform for 4 years? And as everybody was crying. And so it was a great experience.
So did you know that you wanted to do biomedical engineering when you were 15?
No, I wouldn't say that. I was in between medicine and engineering. And so at that age, I would say I really wanted to care for people. So that's more like the medicine side and have an impact in people's life. And then engineering was like, I love math, and I know that's weird, but I love like all my math classes, all my physics classes. I love them. That was like the second after sports, like the sports classes. And so I was just trying to bridge medicine and engineering together. And so biomedical engineering was kind of like the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about how you want to help people, and you kind of referenced it a couple times a little bit ago. But you started this Will Rise event that I didn't hear about until this year, actually. But just explain what that event is for people that don't know what it is and how you got started in it.
Yeah, that's all. So I started, this is a funny story, so I'll tell you. I actually saw on campus Shelby Gruss, who was the former captain of the USA wheelchair basketball team, and she had a USA backpack on her. And so I knew she was on the team, and she had no idea who I was. And so I literally chased her down on campus, and I was like, excuse me, can I talk to you? Because at that time, I already had kind of like a purpose in mind. I had my career aspirations in mind. I just wanted her opinion on how I could help and if that's even possible. And so during our first lunch, I asked her if she thought that parasport needed more attention and more support, and she was like, hell yeah. Okay, so from that time, I think that's basically when the idea of Will Rise was born. And I was like, let me help you to try to do something together and raise awareness for Paralympic sports. And so I went to see Nancy Cross at in the athletic department, and Corey Linkle in the BME school, and Dean of Engineering in the College of Engineering. And so I really felt the energy and the enthusiasm about the project and how we can raise awareness for Paralympic sports together. And I had no idea it was going to be possible at that time. I just knew that if I was going to talk with the right people, that we were going to figure something out together. And it became like bigger than I even thought it was going to be. It was to raise awareness of Paralympic sport, but it became to empower lives, through sports and inclusive opportunities. And so we had the parasport athletes and Paralympians actually come on campus and play a wheelchair basketball game. And then we had the student athletes, like some of my teammates were there, and they jumped in the chairs and they show how we were struggling in there, and how skilled the parasport athletes are at this, and how difficult the sport is. And then we had Dr. Nauman and Dr. Manson from Purdue, who showed the research we're doing at Purdue to help that and relate that to the audience. And so with the tremendous support and like the collaboration of the College of Engineering and Athletics for that event was just tremendous. Is the reason why we were able to do it. And we even had, I spoke with President Daniels about it. He gave us an introduction video. So we showed an introduction video of President Daniels during the event. And so we also had, it was just amazing. We needed a whole team to do that. We had like Sarah and Charles from creative design, like they created like a whole logo and did pictures with me and Shelby. And then we had Ian and Nathan like do a video. We had Scott help us like do all the setup in in Holloway gym, and then thanks to the volleyball team, by the way, that gave us their gym to present the event. And then Kathy Wright-Eager was just an amazing help also, and all our volunteers that was there. I mean, just my point is that it took a whole team to make the event happen, and it would not have happened without the support of everybody. So it was just really fulfilling. And we had a dinner also after with the Passport athletes, and I had like questions on whiteboards around the table, and we asked them, how would you improve your chair to play at your full potential? And if you were a 10-time boulder, how would you make the event for next time? Because I want to make it an annual event and keep growing year after year. And so it was just a beautiful conversation. The professors were in the room and kind of were writing ideas for research projects. And they expressed how much attention they felt while being at Purdue. So it says a lot about the culture that Purdue has, and they felt really good, even more than the university where they play. So it felt good to kind of bring them that feeling. So yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Were you surprised at all about how well it went, and how much support you had from both the academic side and the athletic side of the university?
I wouldn't say I was surprised, because I know who Boilermakers are, and I know how supportive Purdue is, but I could say how impressed I was though about the support we had. I mean, it was just tremendous. It's really an understatement to say how grateful I am for everybody's support for the event. And so yeah, it was really a team effort, and I'm actually really excited right now because we're planning the next event. And we're hoping to, if everything goes well, we're hoping to have the Canadian and the USA wheelchair basketball teams on campus in preparation for Tokyo. And so that's an amazing project right now that I'm working on. And I partner with the CEO of the National Wheelchair Basketball Association, which is a nonprofit. And so since it's going to grow a lot next year, we're going to need an even bigger team and bring everybody together. But I feel that a lot of people have a lot of energy and enthusiasm about the cause. And so it's been a blessing to work on that project and try to talk with people about it. And so I'm really excited. And I'm actually starting a student organization right now that's called RISE, for reinventing the interface of inclusivity, sports, and engineering. And so it's really there to drive the Will Rise event, but also to bridge the gap between engineering and athletics. Like you said, I mean, we have one of the best engineering schools in the nation and research school in the nation, and we're in the Big Ten, like one of the Power 5 conferences in athletics. And so there's so much projects that are at the interface of those two fields. And so it's been great to work with. I have like a group of 5 students right now that we're working on the structure and the culture of the organization. And I mean, this team is just amazing. And so just to give you an example, like the name, we found the name in about 5 minutes. I came up with a couple of words, and then they were like, oh yeah, we should do this, this, and this. And then in 5 minutes, we had our name done. So yeah, I'm really excited to put that official and start recruiting some students and start working on that, because I really want it to grow and continue even if I leave, when I'll graduate from Purdue, and I want to come back and see how big it became and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, you can count me and my friends in. We'll all help with whatever you guys need. I wanted to back up and talk about the next Wheel Rise event. How are you guys going to handle that, given this whole COVID pandemic and all that's going on in the country? So what are you guys' plans for that at this moment?
Yeah, so that's a great point. It's definitely like in the table every time we have a meeting, because I mean, everybody's in such a situation of uncertainty. So we're going to have to adapt to the situation. Obviously, the Olympics are now at the end of August, so we have a bit more of a room for that now. And so we're targeting like the last weekend of April. So we're giving us as much chance as possible to see if the situation can settle down. And then as we move forward in the plans and stuff, we'll see other adaptations we could do, and maybe and see how the basketball season, the Purdue basketball season, the NCAA season goes in the gym and stuff, and see what modifications they do and kind of follow that. And so we're really, even though we have COVID, we're really kind of have our mindset on our mission, and so we'll find ways to foster that mission and keep moving forward with the project. But we definitely want to make sure that the athletes are safe, and that things go well, and that we're not putting anybody at risk. So we're staying really connected with what's going on in the world of sports, and the entire world actually about the situation.
Mm-hmm. So before I forget, I wanted to ask real quick about this past season. Obviously, it was cut short for you guys were probably. What was kind of the feel of the team when you guys got the news that you guys wouldn't have the opportunity to play in the postseason?
Well, obviously at first there's a lot of disappointment. I mean, we were like the excitement was on top because we were like so excited to have the news to go to the NCAA tournament. We've been waiting for that for 2 years, and so we felt good about the team. The team chemistry was great, and so when we got the news, it was disappointing at first, but we kind of kept that eager of bringing that excitement to the next year, so to this year, and just following our footsteps and make sure we keep building on what we have built throughout the years. And I was really sad for our seniors. That was my biggest kind of emotion. It felt really sad to kind of let them go and not being able to do that, to live that together for them. And so I love Unique and Ree. I mean, they're the best. And so, yeah, but we want to really keep that legacy and make sure that we build on that and play at our best next season.
Mm-hmm. And then looking ahead to next season, it's kind of still up in the air. We don't know if the fall sports are going to happen, if football will happen, all that. What's your guys' mindset as a team heading into next year, knowing that the same thing could happen again?
Well, it's just about day after day. You know, you focus every single day to try to be better and improve on whatever you can improve on. And so it's really just focusing on the things you can control, and then the rest is going to follow. You can't try to see the things that you can't control. You can't focus on these things. And so we're really focusing on how we can improve, how we can build team chemistry. And then when the opportunity is going to come and then it's going to open for us to play a game, then we'll be ready for that.
Mm-hmm. So then I get things off track, but I want to talk about the Rise group that you've started. We kind of talked about it over text before we got on here. So just explain a little more about what exactly that is and what you plan to do with it.
So it's a student organization, and so we're bringing a team of students together to really reinforce the collaboration between engineering and athletics on campus. And I'm hoping it's going to also inspire other schools to do the same, so that we can kind of collaborate within sports and engineering. I like to call it sports engineering, to really create more inclusive opportunities within sports, but also beyond sports. And so it's really, I think Will Rise needs to be a student-driven event. I think the perspective of students these days is tremendous. And I really wanted to make sure that there's a structure at Purdue, so that when I leave, the event keeps growing, and that we stimulate other projects also at the interface of sports engineering and inclusive opportunities. And so it's really cool to be doing that. I think what I've learned now that I'm at like my senior year at Purdue, I'm trying to be more of a teacher. While still being a learner a lot, I am trying to teach others to kind of take on some of the roles that I've been taking. And I learned that you actually learn a lot by teaching, you know. And so it's really a cool place to be. And so I'm really excited to see what this organization can do in the future.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm super excited to see what you guys got cooking up for next year. But I mean, you're the epitome of a Boilermaker, in my opinion. You're such a leader. You're so caring about everyone. You're so I don't know what the word would be, energetic about everything that you do. Mm-hmm. I think that you're like the model Purdue student and athlete.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So you do a whole bunch of different things, like we've mentioned before. You recently cut your hair for children's cancer.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about how that came to be and why you did that.
So in Montreal, there's a challenge from the nonprofit called Le Camp that promotes the well-being and the recovery of children battling cancer and try to help their family as well. And so I did that. I did the challenge like 3 years ago with one of my friends. And when I came back to Montreal, it was just a way to help a community that I think deserves it so much. And so it was like I said before, like if I see somewhere where I could help, I really just, I just do it. And so it was just it's a small sacrifice for a big cause. And so I just decided to do it. And I think it was such a fulfilling experience for me. It was a great, happy feeling to do it. And so when the day I did it, I really had this idea of bringing the challenge to Purdue to really live on the legacy of Tyler Trent. And he was just such an inspiration for all of us. And like you said, he's the epitome of what a Boilermaker is. And so I'm hoping I can bring it to Purdue and do a challenge similar like that. And so that we can help this cause together and connect ourselves together under a great cause. And so I'm working on that and trying to recruit some students that would want to work on the project. Like I said, I'm trying to be a teacher and have somebody try to lead the project, and I'll be there to guide them. And so that's a really cool project also that I'm really fortunate to be working on.
I mean, you have so much on your plate. Are you doing anything else in terms of charity or philanthropy type things?
Well, the next event is another one that, like, the next Will Rise event it's another one that I'll keep in the book. But right now, honestly, like you said, I have a lot on my plate, but I'm also trying to take some time to spend with my family. It's a blessing to be able to have some time with them. So I'm trying to balance things so that I can reserve some time for them. But it's just amazing to as soon as I have 10 minutes, I can spend it with them because we're all in the house together, and so we're really lucky for that. So sometimes I go. Some weekends we go camping together, and so I'm trying to reserve some time for them as well, because they're my people, they're my role models, and they bring so much happiness to me. So yeah.
I mean, they've really rubbed off on you. They've created such a wonderful person that's helping the world in so many different ways. Before I let you go, I kind of wanted to talk about the state of the United States. I know you're not here now, but what's kind of been your thoughts about all the things about racial injustice and all the things regarding that recently, given that the Purdue women's basketball team is a very diverse group? Yeah,
so it's such an important subject right now. I'm closely related to that. So I'm the director of diversity and inclusion as well in the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. And so we are really trying to educate. I'm trying to educate myself first and then try to educate people, and really try to have it is a tough topic to talk about. So we're trying to build a community where we can, a safe community where we can have tough conversations within ourselves and really talk about it and feel comfortable sharing our thoughts and our emotions. And so one of the best experiences I had at Purdue was to talk we had a conversation as student athletes together from all the sports. And so we really said how much it is important to recognize our own biases, so that we can then take then create changes. But people need to realize that, and I realize that too, and I'm learning and I'm growing every time I have a conversation about that. But I do have privileges, and that's something that people need to realize. And so it was great to have a conversation with the student athletes, and they were so vulnerable, and it was just beautiful to have to talk with them and really build on a conversation with that. And so we talked about how we feel that the situation is becoming different with George Floyd, and how it seems different, and how we're hoping that we're reaching a tipping point where change is going to happen. And so I think it is big changes, but it also starts with small changes. And so an example for that, I listen to so much podcasts, like I said, and if you haven't heard Brene Brown and Simon Sinek podcast, you should definitely go check that out. But there's a podcast for both Brene Brown and Simon Sinek, and I try to share that to everybody I see. But Unlocking Us from Brene Brown and a bit of optimism from Simon Sinek, and so I share that podcast from everybody. But Simon Sinek was saying how it is actually the first time that we see the whole scene, and there's no way to argue on what happened. We're all seeing it, and so I think that created a movement. And Simon Sinek talks more about it, and he has a better way than me to actually explain the situation. But we talked about that as within student athletes, and Brene Brown also has a podcast on how to be an anti-racist. And so we have, you probably saw the pledge that we did together, and Jared was great to kind of lead that narrative. But I'm hoping that we can promote this pledge and live by, and really believe it, and live by this pledge, and throughout our years and throughout the entire department. And the athletic department has been just wonderful to support us in the situation, and they hear us, and you can see how much the athletic department really cares for their student athletes as persons first. And I saw that through the support they gave for the event, and then through the situation right now, and so we're trying to create change, and step by step we'll get there. Sometimes it's tough to not see the change right away, and then I'm a person that if I want something to be changed, I want it now. But it helps to be patient in that way, and so yeah,
for sure. So I'm gonna let you go. I've held you for a while, but from the bottom of my heart and from all of Boilermaker Nation, thank you so much for what you've done and what you've continued to do and what you're going to keep doing for Purdue athletics, all the charities you work for, and the community.
Oh, well, thank you. It was such a pleasure. To have that conversation with you, Dub, and I want you to keep doing what you do. You're amazing, and you help us kind of spread our message out there. And so you're doing awesome work. I can tell how great you are to do that. So keep doing it, and props to you. Honestly, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. I'll have you on again by the time next year rolls around, so we can help promote this Will Rise event too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You're the best. Keep on going. Keep on making the world a better place.
Yeah, you too. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.